So yesterday I watched this program here by James True, and he talks about the car and the bar and the Egyptian beliefs about the various parts of our soul. And he compares them to a computer program of today. How you could sell that kind of spiritual technology to people in the modern world by, it's, in the same way as if you compare the human emanation by explaining, the hard drive, the program that's running on it, etc., to the ancient Egyptian belief of the Kaaba. But it's because there is only one truth, I guess, and it hasn't changed throughout the ages. And how he says that, the name that was given to you was like kind of magic. And it formed, it's like a, form of protection. A person's name was a sigil where car and bar converge. If something happened to your preserved body, or if your name was not written down somewhere, the bar and the car would get lost. They would not be able to find their way home to your tomb. You would disappear forever. You would not be able to watch over your family or to enjoy your afterlife. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every bird of the air, and he brought them to the man to see what he would name each one, and whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. And furthermore, how the mummy then assumes is able to project life back into, the effigy that they made for themselves, because they made these effigies out of themselves, yeah. And then they were buried in these weird underground caves, which kind of look like antennas when you start looking at them, and they were regularly flooded, and it seems as if that was actually the purpose of the whole. And then the essence of the pharaoh would get flushed out with the waters as they subsided across the river Styx, because you would find your way back from one side of the river Nile to the other, and on the one was the valley of the kings, where all the dead bodies were, the Nile, and then on the other side was Luxor, yeah, the place of rebirth. Which used to be called Wazet. As early as Homer's Iliad, the Greeks distinguished the Egyptian Thebes, or Thebes of the 100 Gates. Luxor temple, Ipet Resid, like the other temples in Thebes, is not dedicated to a cult god or deified version of the king in death. Instead, it is dedicated to the rejuvenation of kingship. It may have been where many of the pharaohs of Egypt were crowned. It is the centerpiece of the Opet festival, where the sacred bark of the Theban triad travels from Karnak to Luxor temple, highlighting the godly significance of the pharaoh's recoronation. So the waters would wash out your essence and bring you back to life. And when you look at the Holbein story, and he used to be a religious painter, but then the Reformation happened, and the need for artists to paint what would then be deemed to be iconography that was to be rejected, yeah, made them unemployed. And so he went to England, where people were very much into portraitures, to infuse their bar into the car, into this magical sigil, so that their power would endure throughout the ages, projecting. We're still with the pharaohs, nothing has changed. Nothing's changed. And when you look at these pictures, I mean, don't they still look like they're alive? Isn't there a kind of magic in these portraits?
He was busy enough, that wasn't the issue. But as a citizen of Basel, he could only leave the city for a short time.
So you had to go back to Basel, to Germany. Nothing's changed. So in order not to lose your citizenship, you had to go back after so many years. Isn't that the same still today? You can only reside in a certain country for 6 months, and then you have to get out and get a visa in order to get back in.
Lose his citizenship. So in 1528, he had to come back.
It was probably now that he painted his wife and children. He'd had to leave them behind when he left for England. And, as you can see, he's made them into a holy family, hasn't he? A suffering Madonna and her infants, dreading what lies ahead.
Basel in 1528 was not a nice place to be if you were a painter or a Catholic. Holbein had seen the Protestant Revolution arriving in Basel. It was one of the reasons he'd left for England. But in the time he was gone, it had all gotten so much worse.
Basel officially became a Protestant city in 1529. To celebrate, gangs of rabid iconoclasts rampaged through the churches, looking for Madonnas to trample and Christs to smash.
On the 9th of February 1529, a gang of some 200 angry Lutherans broke into here, Basel Cathedral, and began attacking the art. Statues, crucifixes, Holbein paintings. And they didn't stop until all this superstitious idolatry, as they saw it, was destroyed.
There's no official record of Holbein's own religious views. Not surprisingly, he kept them to himself. But he was born a Catholic in very Catholic Bavaria. And my hunch, based on the odd visual clue here and there, is that he never crossed over fully to the Lutheran side.
Yeah. Nothing has changed at all whatsoever.